Welcome back to the Pulse Podcast. I'm back with my buddy Justice, my buddy CJ, and my buddy Dylan. And I do not know. Okay, I do know this person to the left of me. Dad, it is good to have you.
It's good to be on here, son. My son, Seth.
Yes, I am his son.
I'm so proud of y'all with y'all's podcast and everything.
It's going to be a long episode.
Yes, sir. That's what we're here for.
Yes.
But we're glad to have Dad on. We're going to be asking him some questions. And in today's episode, we're just going to go through and ask questions about ministry, things he experienced. Maybe he tell us a couple funny stories, get us laughing, hopefully. I'm sure he's got some good ones. Most of us have grown up with him. I have. Obviously,
yes. Thank you for that compliment as a parent.
And Justice has known him since probably about 4 or 5 years old because he did carry Justice with his broken ankle
to the rescue.
To the rescue.
Yeah,
CJ, how long have you known Dad?
I went to church camp. I believe I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
So I probably met you then, but closely know you probably 16, 17, right in there.
And the funny story, how long have you known him, Dylan?
About 15 minutes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Dylan, he's one of my prayer warriors. He's one of my prayer friends.
Well, we opened up with a word of prayer, and I was praying for all of our guests we're going to have on, and I forgot Brother Steve's name.
Yeah, he's over smacking my arm like it's going to come to him.
The Holy Spirit knew exactly what I was trying to say.
But anyways, we're going to have a good episode. But before we get into all the questions and all the stories and everything like that, Justice, will you go ahead and tell us what we are trying?
We are going to do bangs this time, and we're going to do the rainbow unicorn.
Wow. That is a very manly drink.
Sounds magical.
It's very manly.
Just to clarify, when I grabbed mine, it turned into Black Hammer.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, Justice, if you don't mind handing me that, I actually would like to. Okay, so it's an energy drink, but it has 0 calories, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so are these energy drinks good for you?
100%.
Absolutely.
Heart healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
These things are terrible for you, and I'm the oldest guy up here. This is probably make my heart explode on the air.
Okay,
so recording.
Yeah, there's no way it's good for you.
The label on the back says not intended for individuals under the age of 18. Thankfully, I am 18, so I qualify.
Barely.
So, okay.
Barely legal.
Y'all calm down.
If there's an underage, there's got to be an overage. Surely it says something about being 40 on there. Don't drink it.
No, but it's got a bunch of ingredients. I don't know, but we're just gonna go ahead and try it. So, turn. Here we go. ASMR. Honestly,
Nah.
I'm only drinking this because I'm old enough not to waste stuff anymore.
It tastes like,
How much did y'all give him? I thought he said he didn't want a lot.
Justice actually put more in his than anybody's.
Just fill me up.
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm not going to lie. That was pretty good.
It's pretty refreshing. That's what I needed.
I thought it was pretty good.
I like it.
It's I'm giving it a 3.
Whoa, out of 10?
It's got a chemical aftertaste.
Well, I'm pretty sure this ain't all natural.
No.
I would not assume so. Where can you find Bang in nature? The local river?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm probably giving that a 1.
1? Wow.
I give it a 5.
Okay, well, I'm not drank many bangs, so I thought it was pretty good. I'll give it a 5 too.
I'm going like 1 because it tastes like rotten cotton candy.
Rotten.
How does cotton candy rot?
If it could rot, I would say that's what it would
I'm
taste
pretty sure
like.
cotton candy disintegrates. Is that the word?
I guess. I'm just telling you that kind of had like they were trying to take
Dylan's our
something
vocabulary
rotten and mash it.
specialist.
No, I'm not. I took English class 3 times in college.
Well,
the same class.
He's here to commemorate some things.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So what's the correct way to say the word?
Okay.
Which word?
Commemorate. What did I say?
You said commemorate.
Commemorate?
I'm pretty sure that, yes, commemorate.
Commemorate was what we were looking for.
I said commemorate.
Yeah. I don't think we could tell if you were wanting to say collaborate or commemorate.
I was between the middle.
I like it. There we go. Well,
in between the lions.
I am glad y'all gave me a little bit of energy drinks because, like, when we shoot podcasts on the higher grounds, I'm usually shooting it very early in the mornings, and everybody knows me. I'm better at conversation early, so I do not have any idea what's liable to come out of me being late at night like this. Yeah. So
that's what we wanted. Authentic Stephen Aldridge.
I think Justice and CJ can attest to this. There's been many mornings where Dad comes barging in to where we're staying at the house in the basement, and he's just like raring raring to go. Let's go to church, boys. And we're like, Dad, we're still tired.
4
Can
in
you
the
give us a
morning.
break?
Service starts in 8 hours. All right, boys, it's about time to get in the shower.
Oh man! Oh, that's my okay. We're just gonna start out the pipe. Okay, I deserve a medal. I deserve a medal for having to be around these boys in the morning at youth camp. They all are the worst at trying to wake up and get them going at youth camp.
Hey, well, that leads us into a good question.
Yeah,
that leads us into a good question.
Okay.
So, what in your mind and in your opinion, and you've done youth camps ever since I've known you, but in youth camp and the youth camp atmosphere, what has been probably the funniest story? I mean, somebody done something happened, and it was just hilarious.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Let's see. The first thing that came to my mind was when we took a nutrageous bar.
Yeah.
Me and Paul Milton were cleaning the bathhouses, and we took a nutrageous bar and kind of laid it on the toilet seat.
Oh, my.
At that time, Miss Patsy was always the one that came in and checked the dorms, and so that was kind of that was pretty funny because she came out and she said, "Y'all were nasty," and she just kind of went on.
Oh, so explain a little bit. So you took and put it on the toilet seat to make it imitate
a snake.
Well, yes,
a brown snake.
Yeah,
feces. Okay.
Her reaction was absolutely hilarious. So
that's hilarious. Well, in youth camp, and I think Justice, we've talked about youth camp a little bit on the podcast, but we have a lot of fun stories, and I think one of the funniest ones of Justice is just Thursday nights when we stay up late and everybody's, they've already drank like 3 Mountain Dews at 2:00 in the morning, which is not a good idea.
No.
And Justice is I mean, it's 2:00 in the morning. I'm sitting on a swing with Justice, and he looks at me, he's like, "Let's go play basketball." and I'm like, okay, we'll play basketball. Let's go do that. We're in boots. We're in church because we haven't changed.
Where was I sitting?
You were sitting on the wooden swing watching everybody. We call him the Eagle because he just stares everyone down as we do youth camp. Yeah. And Justice, he comes out there and we're playing ball, and I always ended up getting hurt, and I always let Justice talk me into playing on Thursday nights, and I always ended up getting hurt, but it's just a part of it. But in ministry, there's youth camp, there's the funny parts, the funny aspects, but also in youth camp, I mean, there's moments that are just amazing that you thought never happened. So, in your life at youth camp, what would be your biggest moment? And I'm talking your life at youth camp when God did something for you, or you saw God do something on that mountain for others, and you just can't forget it.
Well, we've had so many services, it's hard to pick one service because it seems like every year God does something amazing, and in the youth camps that we get to be in, we're all familiar with Light on the Mountain. And so as a camper, I remember a service where we started under the arbor, and we were having a big night. Brother Bobby Hernan was preaching. You guys probably know that name because he was somebody when I was a team anyway. But he didn't get to preach that night. We'd been having a really good week. Jesse Haley was still a camper there. Jesse Haley and I were campers together. And I don't remember what led to it. I think Brother Melton said we need to run up the mountain or something. But all I know is the entire arbor emptied, and we had the rest of the service up on the mountain. And
how about that?
And we just worshiped and shouted and enjoyed the Lord. And then a girl got saved up there. I remember the service that Jesse Haley announced is called a preach in. He announced it's called a preach, and when he got up, he's been crying, and he told Preacher Melton, he said, "Lord announced me to preach. Lord called me to preach." And Preacher Melton said, "All right, son, well, here's the microphone. Preach." Yeah.
Not tonight, sir. Not tonight.
Yeah, I mean, so he did. He preached for like 30 or 40 minutes, and then somebody got saved.
Yeah.
And so that was a great night. I remember being up. I've only done this one time. This was after I got married, maybe a year or two after. I remember God moving in on the mountain with us. Brother Chris Hazlett was preaching. And the only thing that got out that night was Run to Jesus. And it was one of these overwhelming services where God was people were getting in the altars and people were worshiping, and we got in the altars and prayed a while, and then it kind of broke loose, and then I ended up in the prayer house with Brother Dietz. And we prayed all night long, and other men we prayed, and I haven't done that many times in my life, but prayed all night. Got up the next morning, I was still in my tie, the clothes from there. We just prayed till we fell out, woke up, and it didn't get slain or anything, so let me just clarify there.
My dad was slain in the spirit. No, I'm just kidding. Don't clip that.
And, but wonderful. But one of the biggest joys of all of that is seeing God work in in my kids, my family's lives, and then what God's done for them through there. I love it. I love it, man.
I got a question for
Yes.
you. Specific about your son.
Yes.
Okay.
When did you know? When
Yeah.
did you know he was going to sing? Like that was going to be like his little niche.
His little what?
Niche,
His little niche.
like hobby, habit, his own little.
Are you talking about singing?
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what he said there for a second.
Well, you know, he here's the thing. When he come out with blue jean shorts, cowboy boots,
This is a good start to the story.
and a cowboy hat, and he wore that from the age of 3 to 10. Same boots.
Stop laughing, dude.
Singing what he called the Bucking Bull song. And so you would say, Seth, sing that Bucking Bull song. And he would say, Bucking Bull. And then he would just, everything else was just made up. Never sang it the same way twice.
Do you have any pictures of him in his?
Oh, I got pictures.
Wow.
I wish I had a recording. Seth wrote what could be one of the greatest songs
Country song?
in Western culture. Folklore.
Yeah, it's more of a folk. Yeah, we'll put that title on
And
it.
it was called "I'd Never Seen Eye to Eye with Any Man in the West."
Could you please sing us that sometime on the Pause podcast?
Sometime on the Pause podcast.
Also-
Actually, if we hit 250 subscribers on YouTube, I will sing "I've Never Seen Eye to Eye with Any Man in the West."
I want to hear the Buck and Bull.
Yes.
I can't remember. It was different every time. My mom said I
You
would just say,
Yeah, you would say it, and he would just automatically grab his belt buckle and go, "Bucking Bull on the Bucking Bull," down the road, and it was always different.
"Okay, Dad."
Here went Seth's popularity down the drain.
I'm just going to go and tell you, Seth was our entertainment. I mean, that was God gave us entertainment when He gave us Seth. And
Now, Dad, I did write a serious song too.
you did. Yeah, that is right.
What's it
Oh, the
called?
red, white, and blue.
Red,
you
White,
wrote
and Blue
that?
has 1,200 views on YouTube, I believe, as of right now.
Yeah,
Wow.
I put a song on YouTube. It's on the Wolfpack YouTube channel.
Okay.
You can find it over there. Seth Aldridge, Red, White, and Blue. I think it's the most popular. Seth Aldridge, Red, White, and Blue, because I think it's the only one. But that was
Monopoly.
fun.
Yeah.
We
But
own all the rights to the song. The Wolfpack does not Seth, so we set that up strategically.
but I didn't know that was my niche. But okay.
I have
Are
a
we saying
question.
that wrong?
I mean,
I don't know. Don't ask me.
I have
Okay.
a question.
Go ahead, Dylan.
So, obviously, you've heard us talk about it. We have asked, me and Justice have asked almost every preacher we've got to meet since
Okay.
this episode, what is one thing you don't say at a funeral?
What is one thing you don't say at a funeral?
Yes.
You're probably better off. Yeah. You don't go to the funeral and say, you're probably better off now that he's gone. Yeah, you don't say that.
You know what? Things are looking up now.
We had, what did Brother Rack, what would you drop tonight? What did he tell us? Oh, you never assume if the woman standing next to the casket is his mother or or is his wife or his daughter.
Ooh.
There was
Wow.
a certain preacher who assumed it was his wife, and it turned out to be his daughter. And she looked him dead in the eyes and said, "It's my father."
wow.
The preacher said, he said it just got real quiet and stared at her like,
I'm so sorry.
Wow, that's hilarious.
And that's one of those things people don't understand, that less is more when it comes to funerals and viewings. Less is more. If you
Especially
don't know
if
what to
it's-
say, just don't.
Especially if it's a cat funeral.
shake their hand.
Yeah, shake them and put $10
Yeah.
in their hand and just keep
Exactly.
on
Just kidding.
Don't make me say anything, please.
All I got's a 20. You got to change for a 20? I'm trying to go to McDonald's after this.
Well, Justice, I believe it is your turn to ask a question. You got one, buddy?
I have a bunch. When did you decide that you wanted to start counseling?
Start counseling. Like counseling people?
No,
Hey.
like at camp.
Hey, oh.
Oh, okay. Well, this is interesting because, I can give my answer, but you need to make sure you call Chancey Carter. You need to call Chancey Carter about this because I was only a counselor for one camp. All right, so I got married, and in 2001 I was 19.
I was
so
born in
by the
2001.
cam, yeah, exactly. I said I was an old guy on the show. But what's funny is that this is well known. So Preacher Melton had talked to Brother Carter because Eric was going to be starting college and going to be at camp. And so Brother Carter was going to be the activity director when the next camp season rolled around. So he'd been kind of talking to him and all that kind of stuff. So camp starts, and I'm the activity director. And so it's like Brother Eric goes down, and I get to go in. And so That's just a funny story. Brother Carter's like, I was his counselor one year, and the next year I come back and he's my boss. This is what you
That's hilarious.
He says that all the time. But I'll tell you what, when I was one of my last camps as a camper, we were, for some reason, some pastors had to go home, maybe their midweek service or something. I don't even remember who I was working. But because of that, I got drafted to go down as a camper and help the junior counselors watch their group in the river. And so in doing that, just in that little bit of time, I was like, you know what, I've enjoyed my time as a camper. And I'm looking forward to being a counselor. And as much as I love being a camper, I loved every minute of it. I would go up and stay with Preacher Melton and Miss Patsy and go do those things. I love working it. The seeing a group come to camp, or a young man or young lady come to camp and leave changed, man. And I say this, and I know people are. Is you okay, Amber?
I'm telling you, Jersey Mike's hitting hard.
Yeah, and so there are people who measure success. You know, LeBron James is on the verge of breaking the score. Now that's all good, but I'm telling you, man, there is an amazing joy when you see that happen that the world can't replace. And so I love it.
Yeah. Since
I can think some of the best times of my life were at. Like Christian life. Some of the best times I've had help was at Christian camp, which I never went to Light on the Mount.
Man, you missed it. You're right there at the bottom of the hill.
I know.
Come up there.
You know where we went? We went to the Wilds.
Oh, did you?
I hated that. See, I'm not an outdoors.
I'm not allowed. I'm actually not allowed to even comment on what you just said. I'm not even allowed to.
Okay, well, the Wilds has got its own place.
I got you.
And I know you can't comment, but I'm not a rougher. Like, I don't get out in the wilderness and rough it. That's what they made me do. And you talk about the little, what do you call it?
LOM.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? What's that little bar you talked about? You pulled a prank on some lady?
No, it was a nutrageous candy bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I wish there was a nutrageous candy bar on their toilets up there, but it wasn't. It was rough. I had to bathe in the creek, and I called my dad crying. I said, "If you don't come get me, I promise you I'm never coming back to camp again."
Oh, that's hilarious.
Can you imagine Dylan's dad answering the phone? Son, tough it up. You'll be all right.
He told me his exact words were, "I don't know what to tell you, man. You just going to have to get over it. I'm 4 hours away. I ain't coming to get you."
That's hilarious. Well,
I was joking about the Wilds. I know a lot of people that go. I just say that because that's another camp. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, since Justice asked him about counseling, and obviously he's been he's been our counselor. And then he mentioned something about LeBron James. So let's ask the hard questions.
Yeah.
Of the three of us, Dad, who is the best basketball player?
What about that?
Yeah. Yeah, you like that, Justice? You like that question?
Easy answer.
I feel like it is too, and I know where he's going to lean towards.
Well, you know, they all
Just
have,
kidding.
You all have some really good qualities. So let me just throw this.
Oh, you
there.
mean of us? Oh, I thought you meant like NBA. I was Michael Jordan. Sorry,
Of us three, because he's our counselor.
Goat debate. I can settle that one easy. But anyway, so I've watched all three of these guys play. Which at Light on the Mountain basketball was a big thing. So I mean, you playing stuff. But I will say this. I can say something about all of them. But CJ is the one I would most worried about. CJ always had the best attitude out of any of these guys playing. Like CJ could walk off the court. CJ could walk off the court and go right up and lead us in devotion. Now these two here, they have to have
no emotion, just straight face, just killer mode all the time.
He just, he didn't get mad, he didn't get mouthy, he never argued a call. Now these two here,
but deep down inside, he was like,
Steven, don't call me, don't do that, okay? Just go play basketball.
That is you.
That's not a foul. That's not a foul.
And this one here, oh my Lord, you gonna give me a call, Dad? You gonna give me a call? I know I'm your son, but you can still call a foul on me. Yeah,
right.
Call a foul against him and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, let's just be honest. In the camper counselor basketball game, you guys fouled us like crazy. I mean, there was no break. I mean, every time we come down the court, you were throwing elbows. You were shoving us into the fence every time.
Black eyes, you're fine.
Here's the difference. Like you guys, you'll call a foul on wine. I went against Scott Wilson and Chancey Carter and Eric Melton and all these guys. I wouldn't have dared call a foul on those men because I respected those men.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wow.
We just took it. We did it. That has been fun. But finally, for this will be the first year when we play our game here at the church that Seth and I will be on teams, actually.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, finally. I've never played with my dad.
This is going to be worse than being against each other. Pass me the ball, Dad. You're bugging.
Pass the ball, Dad. The ball, Kobe.
Kobe.
Oh, man. But, yeah, I mean, there's just so many good, memories, around youth camps and Jubilee services and being together. But not only that, but, trips we've taken and things we've done. And I think one thing about whether it be youth ministry, whether it be Justice probably just thought of a random memory from camp or something like that. But one thing about what were you thinking about? Let's stop right there.
Probably one of the funniest to me is like when you said Jubilee, I always think about the Greens meeting.
Oh my goodness.
And
yes.
So when we were younger, we didn't, like me and Seth and the Greens and stuff, we didn't really get to talk to each other besides like camp and meetings.
Right.
And so when the Greens
Meeting.
Jubilee would come around, it was always like, all right, this is what we're going to do. We've got 2 days to get all this done, and then we won't get to see each other again.
They were they were the worst, like spiritual. Like,
Oh yeah.
So that's what I was thinking. I remember you'd always give us the speech of, listen, boys, yeah, we got church in the morning.
Yeah, the Green.
Yeah.
I got so mad at Seth when you're up there. All right, so we come up there and it's they get together. They stay up all night Thursday night. I mean, they stay up all night. Yeah, we're friend zone and friend, and we're together hanging out, making memories, and running all over the mountain. And they come in the next morning dragging, dead. I mean, zombies. And Brother Green Brother Aldridge, can your family sing? Well, let me see if Listen can sober up from chocolate milk the night before. So Seth, Brother Green shall to sing. And so it's like, and they get up there, and the girls are trying to sing, getting on. Seth, thank you. And he's got this horrible, and it's embarrassing me. But it's embarrassing, making me look bad.
Wow.
That's why, because we were all sitting on the road.
Oh yeah.
And it's like we'd all take turns nodding off.
Yeah.
Justice. Wake each other.
I'd wake
They sleep.
Every time we'd about fall asleep, we'd all look at Russ Steven.
I'd be giving him a look.
He'd be staring us down.
Exactly.
Well, let's clarify some things. We weren't like 15 and 16 years old. I mean, we were younger.
No, there was just some services here that we stayed up a little too late, and we'd be in service. And you know me, I always try and get with, but I was.
No, man, these guys. I'm telling them about that. Seth's got these great guys. I've seen them grow up in camp. They come in and sleep to our Sunday morning. Like,
Oh no way! No,
we're just praying.
That was that eagle.
Pastor Tony Finn. He's up there grabbing acres of heaven, bringing it down, preaching the word. And he's got.
Yeah, we guys are pretty great. I mean, we stayed up, and Isaiah Green's not here, we stayed up one night, the entire night. Me and him did. Justice fell asleep at about 3:00 that morning,
Shocker.
maybe 4:00. But me and Isaiah, we made it through the entire night. We woke up that next morning. We didn't. We stayed up the whole time, and I said, "Well, we might as well get ready." Justice, do you remember waking up and seeing us in our church clothes? And you were like, "What are y'all doing?" Like, Justice is half out of it. He's like, "Why are you already in your church clothes?" We're like, "Well, we never went to sleep, so we just went ahead and got ready." And we were ready for church. We showed up. We were going to be ready. We ate bacon, eggs, drank some chocolate milk, like you said.
Right there's where you messed up. You ate breakfast.
Exactly. We ate breakfast, and when I sat down, dude, I could not. I would shake both my legs, chew gum. I mean, like I was like a crazy person on some sort of.
That's under conviction in the back row.
I mean, it was awful. I was trying to fight it, and I couldn't. I mean, that kind of sleep, you have to have it, and we couldn't fight it. But it's a great stories, and the Jubilee meetings are probably the toughest.
Have you ever fell asleep in church?
That's a good
Have
question.
I ever fell asleep in church?
Yeah.
I can't remember falling asleep. I may fall asleep Sunday morning, but I can't remember falling asleep in church.
Okay, what
Wow.
about?
But I have ADD. I have terrible, and so I'm constantly writing and note taking and marking and saying something to my wife and laugh. I'll get Seth's attention and laugh.
I'll get like 10 minutes into the sermon, but man, that's so good.
Hey.
And then I look over, Rebecca will be doing something like, "What's up?" And then focus back up.
Or said like when Bridger Finney just really hit something pretty hard, I look at Seth and Seth will say, "You're welcome." Man,
Oh yeah, that's her. Well, see, Mom sits in between me and Dad, so
she won't let us sit beside each other.
Yeah, she won't let us sit beside of each other, and she has to constantly tell us to pay attention, like we're children. It's hilarious. But
Get your act together.
Yeah.
What about LOM in the mornings?
Oh my!
No.
Wait a second. There's no way you've never nodded off at Lion on the Mountain Youth Camp in the morning.
I do remember one time I wasn't feeling well, and I had taken a lot of
Right.
I
We all.
and I
Haven't we
led the
all?
silly songs and all that. I lead them silly songs in right out, right up. Like
Down right.
Yeah, and
Next time I get in trouble for sleeping in church, like, man, I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I know. And one of my, and really, it wasn't during the scripture memory, which sometimes I can go long.
Yeah.
And that can be brutal, if you're not getting it.
Yeah, that's right.
But a good preacher friend of mine was up preaching, and I just couldn't take it. I got slumped over like, yeah, and I done that. And then next thing I know, I was gone, and I come back shortly. But I was like, man. And then, of course, I got on some kids that night for sleeping in church.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was sick. You're not. You're healthy.
Oh, man. That's hilarious.
Have I told the story about me falling asleep in college?
I don't believe so.
I have not. All right, long story short, I fell asleep in college during chapel, and we sat on the top balcony, and they had headrest. I fell asleep, and I didn't wake up till after service was over. And there was 4,000 people in the auditorium. All 4,000 left, and I had no clue. I was out. The teacher walked by me. All my friends were sitting there laughing, and the teacher said, "You gonna wake him up?" And they said, "Nah." And so when I woke up, it was dark in the auditorium. The first thing I thought was I got left behind. I was like, no, God, please, no.
I tell you, one of the funniest stories out on the mountain that I remember, and it's for me and Brother Blaylock, which we've had some shenanigans. But I mean, by Thursday afternoon, if you're not tired, you haven't done something right. I mean, you're just exhausted. You're getting. Well, we had eaten supper. And Gary and I both are like, you know what? It was a cooler camp, and so we had time. It's like, man, we need to go try to catch us an hour nap before service. So we'll be fresh. Service might go long. We got to stay up late because it's Thursday night because the kids want to stay up late. I don't know why, but they do. Are you okay over?
I'm good.
Okay, and so anyway, so we go take a nap. Well, we knocked out, and when we knocked out, I'm telling you, we went out. I mean, went out, and we woke up to, and I'm like, Gary, what is happening? And I wake up, what time is it? And it was time to start. Like, everybody's there, Thursday crowds come in, but what it was, Paul Melton was there. It was a camp. Paul Melton was at Preacher Melton's son.
Oh.
He had the electric guitar out.
Mm-hmm.
And he was up there just shredding it and playing and getting some music. Yeah. And anyway, so you know how it is when you wake up late and you're like, oh, Lord, and I missed it. Like, this is going to be really good. All these visitors are here, Preacher Melton. And we just jumped up, throwed our boots on, and come in, and everybody's over there looking at you like, what are y'all?
We were getting with God.
You down there in Yon Prayer Shack.
Yeah, we was.
That's where you was at.
It was not God night time. It was God and shut eye time. But we laugh about that.
Oh yeah. Well, I could think of some pretty hilarious stories. As far as I don't know how we got on falling asleep, but there's a famous picture of you preaching at Line the Mountain Youth Camp.
Come on now.
And you are, wow. I mean, you're going crazy. I mean, you're here, you're there, and there's a guy, and we love him to death. I'm not going to say his name.
Sweet boy.
He's a sweet boy, but he is on the front pew, and he is out.
Is he really?
My dad is yelling to the top of his lungs, and that boy is just laid out. And not only that, Justice, but he did it every night. And me and Justice always sat together, and we would just look at him and be like,
he was slain.
Look at he's out. Look at him. Here he goes.
He was
there he
slain.
goes. He was gone. And there's another funny story too. You know those kids that sleep in the pew the whole night sometimes. And I'm not being in any way trying to be rude or nothing like that. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Those kids, they sleep through the service the whole time.
That's rude.
And then they call for altar call, and then they go down to the altar. And then they fall asleep on the altar.
That's not good.
I've never done that.
That is not good. But we had a kid do that one time, and the invitation just kept going. And we're like, man, he must be really getting it figured out.
Oh, yeah.
And next thing you know, preacher's up there tapping him on the shoulder. And he wakes up. He's like, oh, what happened? What? And he's just like wakes up completely out of it. And we're like, yeah, he fell asleep.
Yeah. Hey, I was a camper about 14, 15 years old. Guy been standing up in an altar call. And next thing you know, he like a tree just goes forward, wham, pow, just nails it out. Everybody's like, he's God's on him, boy, he needs to get in there. Next thing that guy turns over and he's bleeding out of his forehead. The guy passed out.
Oh, wow.
Everybody checked on him.
That is crazy.
Checked on him.
Can you imagine one of the brothers getting up there and grabbing him by the shoulders? Praise, son!
Oh, okay. I got one more good question.
Yes.
What is the worst injury you have seen at Line the Mountain Youth Camp?
Worst injury I've seen. Oh, yeah. So besides mine, when Faith Blaylock messed my finger up, it happened to me. But I got my finger broke by a girl.
He got spiked on by a girl and his finger broke. Let's just get that out there.
I don't know. I don't think she spiked. Yeah, I mean,
she spiked it.
We were there, Dad. It was
I just want to go clear.
It's a man's sport.
Hit the ball, but whatever.
Get off the field.
Worst injury was on the volleyball court. This big guy, big tall guy. I mean, he was pushing 7 foot, and I seen him probably 6 months ago. Yeah, it was, and but he goes up to hit a ball, and he comes down and lands wrong, and his knee and everything it comes out at the socket like his femurs this way, blue jeans and leg is that way. and I'm like,
That's cool.
and for some reason he felt this connection with me because everybody knows I'm the most nurturing counselor and adult worker there.
Yeah, okay.
And so he's like, brother, and I'm like, I'm about to throw up on you. I did not. It's gonna be okay. You know.
I think I'm going.
Now, Justice can attest to this. Dad said he was the most nurturing counselor. Early on in Dad's counseling career, okay, Dad was a very nurturing guy. I would say early on in his counseling career, Dad was a very nurturing guy.
I can see it. I'm not seeing him over here. It's okay.
It was horrible.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Just breathe. He was a very nurturing guy. But Justice, has somebody maybe gotten a little mean in their old age of being a counselor?
You gotta have that guy. You gotta have that guy that makes things right.
Okay.
It's like a good cop, bad cop kind of situation.
I think it's the opposite.
Yeah.
I thought he was rougher on us when we were little.
Yeah.
But then when we got in the teens, it was pretty smooth sailing.
I'm not talking about us.
Huh?
I'm talking about the other kids.
Oh, yeah. We
Dude.
pray for them kids.
Exactly. I mean, it's like Dad calls him a dummy without, just calling him a dummy. I mean, what are you doing, Dad?
I'm sorry, but when we get a kid up there and you realize ain't nobody told him what to do in 365 days.
Oh, he's gonna
since he
get
was
it this
last
week.
year.
Hey, dummy.
Yeah.
We'll go over to him and we'll be like, Dad, that kid over there wasn't even trying in the activities. He's like, I got something for that. And then next thing you know, we're out there doing like tire tug or the toughest thing there is. And Dad, he just.
Why do we have to run?
Yeah. Dad's like, I'm going to make these kids run. Like, Dad, we're participating. We're not these kids,
Do they come back to camp the next year?
Oh, Dad. Well, some of them do.
Some of them,
He
some
Brother
of us
Steve
not.
comes walking
Some
up
of
there
them
like,
don't.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Well, there was this
I've been
one.
commissioned by Preacher Mountain to weed out the week.
Well, see, there's a good story there. There was this one girl that came up to camp, and bless her heart, she'd probably never been away from her parents, and she was just struggling. And by like Tuesday, Dad was like, send her home. We can't deal with that attitude. We can't deal with that all week. And then my mama, thank the Lord for my mama. Okay, my mom's like,
so true.
now Stephen, now listen,
God can.
God can. And next thing you know, that girl, by the end of the week, that girl was like, I love this place. I never want to leave. I love Brother Aldridge. And thank the Lord for Mama, because Dad was ready to send her home.
Call her Miss Betty. Pull her papers. Call her mom.
Let's get her out of here. Yeah, that's what it was. But hey, we've had a good time this episode.
You never let CJ ask a question.
Yeah. Ask a question.
Does CJ need to ask a question?
No, since we're actually on the end, I'll go ahead and make a statement, I guess. Thank you for being faithful to the years. I know we've made a lot of jokes and said a lot of stories and things, but it means a lot to be a young person and then grow up and now being the young adult and still see you being faithful and still being just as energetic and excited as you were when I was 14, 13.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I got to say thank you, too. I don't even know you that well, but
yeah.
You're a good guy.
The thing is, like, for us to have all these stories, that means we've been doing it a while together. We've been doing it for so long. He's basically, he's been our counselor every summer since I can remember, our activity director. He knows us. He's grown up with us. He's always, encouraged us to stay close and everything. And appreciate you for that. And I love you, Dad. And we love you here from the Paul's Podcast.
Love you.
We appreciate y'all for tuning in. And we appreciate y'all for tuning in. And we will see y'all next week.